Hey, fourth grade, welcome back. We are now in week 7 of our distance learning. Can't believe it's been that long, but here we are, and we are getting ready to jump into the day 1 activity of week 7, which is all about the vocabulary, of course. So let's go ahead, grab your packets, and let's dive into today's activity. All right, here we go. So like I said, today is all about the vocab for this week. So the activity that we're going to be doing, what's called a Frayer Model. And so you guys will see that in a second, and I'll explain that activity once we get to it. But for right now, we need to go through the actual vocabulary words, all right? So that we're ready for the activity. Here we go. So on our list of vocabulary words for this week, the first one that we are going to look at is the word destructive. Can you guys say that? Destructive. Another word that's similar to that has the same root word is destruction. So anything that is destructive means it is causing great harm, or destruction would be the harm that was caused. For example, in this picture, you guys see looks like maybe like a bomb, or like maybe like a ball and chain that is hit up against the wall, and so the wall is going to be destroyed. The ball and chain itself was destructive because it caused great harm. An example sentence would be, Earth's rocks cause destruction to our land. All right, so that's the word destruction or destructive. The next word we're going to look at is the word jolt. Jolt could be a noun or a verb. A jolt could be a sudden movement. The verb form of that would mean to move suddenly. For example, I know many of us have ridden on like the bus or the train, and we have to hold on to the rails at the top because the bus can suddenly jolt, which would be like to move suddenly. In the last column here, the example sentence is, the jolt can be felt far above on the Earth's surface. So continue to think about jolt being a sudden movement. The next word we're going to look at today is shift. Shift can also be a verb or a noun. It means to change position or a change in position. For example, here you see the picture in the third column that the 2 blocks of land, they shift apart from each other. They change their position, okay? The shifting of plates also creates volcanoes. You guys remember that from your reading. The next word we're going to look at is the word erupt or eruption. When something erupts, it means to burst out. An eruption would be the actual burst. For example, we see here a picture of a volcano, right? Volcanoes erupt, or they have an eruption, which means the magma from inside bursts out. It erupts. The sentence here says the eruptions grew more powerful. So erupt or eruption means to burst out or an actual burst, okay? The next word we're gonna look at is the word rapid. Everybody say rapid. All right, rapid means happening with great speed. Or if you do something rapidly, that means you do it in a fast way, right? Something very fast. For example, you might think of an Olympic runner here. They move rapidly. They have to get to that finish line. Our sentence here says, earthquakes occur rapidly. So how do they occur? Right, they occur in a fast way, right? Something very quick. The next word is tectonic plates. Slow down and say that with me. Tectonic plates. Tectonic plates are sections of the Earth's crust. For example, when you look at a globe or a map of the entire Earth, you can kind of see like the different continents. Those could be tectonic plates because they are sections of the Earth's crust, right? Those tectonic plates can shift, they can move. For example, two tectonic plates rub against each other. So tectonic plates sounds really big and fancy, but it's just a fancy word for sections of the Earth's crust. And our last word for this week is the word sulfur. You guys say that? Sulfur, good. Sulfur is a bright yellow element that can exist in multiple forms. Here you see a picture of sulfur. The sentence here says, when sulfur is in the air, it can smell like rotten eggs. I'm sure that we've all smelled that just walking down the street. You know, you get a whiff of something that smells like rotten eggs. Most likely it's sulfur, okay? And like it says here, it can exist in many different forms. All right, so now that we've gone through the vocabulary, now let's jump into the activity for this week, which I explained was what's called a Frayer model. And you guys have done this in school many times, where you have the vocabulary word in the middle here, like in the example, the word jolt is our vocabulary word. So with a Frayer model, you're going to give the definition of the word, you're going to list facts and characteristics of the word, you're going to give an example sentence of the word, and then you're going to give a non-example sentence of the word. Let's do the first one together. So the vocabulary word here is the word jolt. We remember from our list of vocabulary words, the word jolt means a sudden movement, right? So then that's what we would write there in the first box in the upper left-hand corner. We would write the definition, which means a sudden movement. Now, when we think about something that's sudden, what are some words that we could also use to describe jolt or something that's a sudden movement? Well, here they've listed the word sudden, of course. The word fast, we talked about that. Something that's quick, and it's also a movement, right? It's an action. So those are words that we would associate with the word jolt. I would almost even think about this box. We want to maybe try to brainstorm like some synonyms, some words that are similar to describe a jolt, right? In the third box, which is the lower left-hand corner, this is where we want to give our example sentence. The example sentence they've given us is, I jolted up when the alarm clock went off. A non-example of this would be, I slowly got out of bed. Why would that be a non-example? Because when you jolt, it's not slow, right? It's not in a slow way. It's very quick. All right, so you guys got it? Let's go ahead and do some more examples. The next word we're going to do is the word destruction. What's the definition of destruction? Well, in our list up top, it says causing great harm. So destruction is the actual harm that was caused, okay? Some facts and characteristics of destruction would be words like harm, ruin, wreck, or destroy. To use destruction in a sentence, I've said that the storm caused destruction to the building. The storm caused destruction to the building. So the storm caused what? Great harm, right? Destruction. A non-example of destruction would be, we created our own song in music class. Why is that a non-example? Because when something is, when there's destruction, it's not creating something, right? It's destroying something, it's harming it. Creating would be the opposite of that. All right, you guys got it? I think you're catching on. Let's move on to the next example, the word eruption. The definition of eruption was, of course, a burst. Now, some facts and characteristics to go along with that would be words like burst, blast, or even explosion. That's what I kind of think about when I think about the word eruption, something exploding, right? Using this word in a sentence, oh, that wasn't supposed to come up next. Let's move to the non-example. A non-example of this would be, the firefighters were able to contain the fire. There we go. Our sentences got out of order there. An example would be, the volcano eruption destroyed the island. All right, so that's using the word eruption in a sentence. That's an example. On the opposite side, it would be a non-example. The firefighters were able to contain the fire. If you contain something, it's not going to erupt, right? Good. Let's move on to the next one. The word shift. Remember, shift means a change in position. Change in position. You're here, and then you shift here, right? Facts or characteristics I would use to go along with the word shift would be words like change, maybe something moves, or even something transfers, right? Moving from one position to another. Using this word in a sentence, I decided to shift the vase closer to the wall so that it wouldn't fall. I moved the vase from this position to a position that was closer to the wall. A non-example of this word would be, the dog stayed in the same spot all night. If the dog stays in the same spot, did he shift? No, did not change its position. And the last word we're going to look at today is rapid. What's the definition of rapid? Yes, something that's happening fast. What other words do you guys think about when you hear the word rapid? Of course, the word fast, maybe high speed, maybe even quick or swift, right? Something that's happening fast. For example, the rapid drop of the temperature made me very cold. Why is that? Because the temperature dropped very quickly. It happened very fast. A non-example of this would be, the baby crawled slowly across the floor. If the baby's moving slowly, the baby's not moving rapidly. All right. So that wraps up our activity for today. Join me tomorrow as we move on to day 2. We're going to be answering some text-dependent questions. All right. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.